preparing to leave the earth, he left his disciples with a call. He told them to be my witnesses in Jerusalem, in Judea, and Samaria, and the uttermost parts of the earth. Some years ago, as God was calling some families to come together and start Lake Valley, we had that same call in mind. We wanted to have impact. We wanted to have impact in Hot Springs, in Arkansas, in the United States. And as audacious as it seemed, we wanted to have an impact in this world. I hope you'll listen to just a few of our stories as we share how God is beginning to make an impact for His name and for His glory.
I was just walking down Bridge Street in order to tell you today about the Bridge Ministry at Lake Valley Church. Now, over the years, Lake Valley has done a great job helping people grow spiritually and providing a grace-filled environment to do that in our home groups. But we began to notice that once people had matured, it was like they came to the edge of a cliff and they didn't know where to go from there. Well, the place they needed to go was to serve outside the walls of the church. We realized that there was a gap, there was a missing component in enabling and empowering our people to serve in the community. And well, what do you put over a gap but a bridge? And so the Bridge Ministry was born. You know, God's people are already at work in this city. So rather than create a new work that's uniquely Lake Valley, what we want to do is partner with these organizations that have already figured out how to do it and have structures in place. My role and the goal of the Bridge Ministry is to help you at Lake Valley get connected into these organizations. What really happens is when we begin to serve, the person that really changes is you.
First responders, those are the individuals that go into a crisis. They're the first team, like law enforcement, firemen, EMTs. I like to think of the church as the second responders, the second team. When a crisis hits, people have lots of needs, and those first responders are very critical during the first 48 hours. But the second team has an opportunity after the 48 hours, because people need water, food, shelter. There needs to be a cleanup, and there needs to be a process of beginning to rebuild. We as the church have an opportunity during this time, the time of a crisis, to be the second team, to meet the needs of people. And that's what we've done. You know, Arkansas represents our Judea, if you will. If the gospel is a seed, our culture is the soil in which we plant that seed. Several years ago, there was a tornado that blew through the town of Dumas, Arkansas. After the first 48 hours, we gathered up some men from Lake Valley. Every morning we got up and we rebuilt the roof on this house. It was incredible, the opportunity that happened all around us, because not just the house and the family that lived in that house, but the people in the neighborhood were very curious about who we were. Why were we there? You see, it was a great opportunity for the gospel. Jesus said, "Let your lights shine in such a way that through your good deeds you may glorify your Father who's in heaven." During a time of crisis, we as the church can reach out to our state and be the light that this world needs to see.
In the early days of Lake Valley at the young church plant, a lot of things we didn't have resources for. One of those was student ministry. So we depended on a local ministry that ministered to several different churches, lots of different churches, to junior high and high school students. And that ministry was headed by a young man named Trent. Trent was new to Hot Springs. He got involved with Lake Valley. In time, Trent got involved with our worship, helped us lead worship, helped plan worship, and he loved that. And as time went on, Trent began to feel that he was being called to full-time vocational ministry, church ministry. Got married, we were a part of that, and he went off to seminary. And Lake Valley supported him financially as he went to school. We believed in Trent and his call to ministry. As he finished up seminary, he took a position at a large church in Denver, Colorado. And during that period of time, we still were friends and informal supporters of Trent. He would call with questions about pastoring, about ministry. Well, about in 2007, 2008, somewhere in there, Trent began to believe that God was asking him to leave that church and plant a new church in Denver. As we got behind Trent's attempt to plant the church, we have been mentoring him. We talked to him several times a month, been encouraging him. Some of us have been to see him. And really what Trent is doing is our heart for the United States. We want to be a part of seeing great churches planted. We want to be a part of seeing churches strengthened. And we just hope that in days to come, there are even more stories like Trent's to tell.
I know a man named Filippo. He lives in a small Mayan village. Filippo's a truck driver. He's a hard-working man. I've known him for 15 years. I watched Filippo. Folks would try to encourage him to follow Jesus. And it just really didn't have much effect on Filippo. So as I watched what was going on, I thought, I wonder if anybody's ever just bought him a Coke, sat down and visited with him, talked to him. So we began to have Filippo and his family over for dinner. I'd ask him about his job and his truck driving, how all that was going. And over time I asked him if he'd like to come to church with us. One day he said, you know, I might just do that. Well, in Guatemala on Sunday evenings, we have our main church service. And it was raining that Sunday, muddy. I thought, man, I'm tired. I don't really know if I want to get out and go to church this Sunday. But I thought about Filippo. I thought, what if he shows up? So I got my family together, we loaded up, went down the muddy streets, and when we got to the church, there was Filippo and waiting to see if we would show up. I think about all we did with Filippo was love on him a little bit. We just showed him that we cared, that we wanted to know about his life and what was going on. I want to invite you to go with us as we discover together how to live and serve like Jesus.
As you've listened to these stories, I hope you can see how God is truly beginning to make an impact. He's making an impact for His name and for His glory. We hope you'll join us.